What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the 182 News YouTube page. I appreciate you checking out this video. You may have noticed a brand new introduction, brand new graphics, brand new logo. I'm going to introduce a new series that I've just called Poppinland. It's the best I could come up with. It's actually named after my Animal Crossing island, if anybody's curious. But for some time now, I've really been wanting to dive into just some random topics, whether it's music I enjoy or just stuff that's hit my radar. And some of that stuff I don't typically dive into on the podcast. And I understand that a lot of folks just want to hear me talk about Blink-182. Sometimes I want to go a little bit further outside of that realm when it comes to just pop punk or rock in general or whatever. And I was thinking it might be cool for the YouTube page just to come up with a specific series for that. This will be it. In my mind, it's kind of like a monthly or bi-monthly just rundown of items that have hit my radar, certain topics, just fun stuff to chat about. And I envision these as fairly short videos where we just highlight some of the stuff happening right now in the rock world or pop punk. So this is the new series. Welcome to the very first episode. We're just going to call it Poppinland, and I'll probably just name it for the month that I drop it in for now. And we'll see how it goes. If you like this format, if there's stuff you want me to talk about, topics, questions, drop them below, and we'll just have some fun with it. And at minimum, maybe this will give me a little bit more content to put out in between the podcast and the podcast interviews, which are not going to stop. So don't worry. I just want to kind of talk about a little bit more than Blink-182 right now. And I figured probably makes more sense to launch more of a sideshow in a sense. However, I'd be foolish to launch it on a different channel or whatever, so I wanted to just post it here, and we'll see how it goes. For this style of episode, we are going to pull up some topics on the side. I will go through these in order. We'll keep it short, we'll keep it sweet, and we'll just highlight some of the things that are happening in the rock world at the moment. To start, we got to hit on New Found Glory. New Found Glory, no surprise, one of my favorite bands. Good chance it's one of yours if you enjoy Blink or pop punk, especially in the early 2000s. They just dropped a brand new song, 100%, which is an absolute banger. Love this song. They actually recorded this back when they did their Disney cover, Part of Your World. So they had been sitting on it for a little bit. However, they launched it. They just announced they are signed to Pure Noise Records, new record label for them, which is sick. And then most importantly, they just got done recording a brand new album. So I am super stoked for this. It is currently in the mixing stage. They are done tracking. And this is one where I didn't know when, if we were going to get a brand new New Found Glory album. They did the acoustic one the last go around, but really this is the first full-blown pop punk NFG heavy album since Forever and Ever times Infinity. So I can't wait to hear what direction they're going in with this. The new single, 100%, it feels progressive. I think for me, it's heavier, like with the riffage, more of like Resurrection / Forever, which is perfect. That's what I want to hear. So stoked to see what NFG has in store for us. They are overseas currently. However, this summer, a huge tour with The Offspring and Jimmy Eat World kicks off. I cannot wait to catch one of those shows. Honestly, one of the biggest shows of the summer. Next up, we've got to talk about a band that is a force to be reckoned with. If you are an elder emo like myself, or even if you were just emo for like a year or two, you will like this band. I discovered this band opening for actually the next band that's on this list here for Heart Attack Man. And I was blown away. And it's one of those things when you hear music that speaks to you, you almost just get goosebumps, and I can just feel it. It's not like there's a certain chord progression or tempo or even style per se, but when you find a band like this, it's really rad. And I started following them. They had just gotten off releasing their debut album, which was incredible. And like a lot of folks, I was looking forward to, what would be the sophomore effort from them. And it's always interesting to me, coming off a successful first album, how does a band follow that up? So a lot of people were looking forward to this album. It's called There's a Whole World Out There. And man, they absolutely killed this album. It rules. I think if you're into like lyrical poetry, their lead singer is brilliant to me. When you read some of the lyrics, This album is super, super sick. It's heavy, it's emo, it'll pull at your heartstrings, but then there's like a bluegrass vibe. It's just it's kind of crazy, all of the stuff that's mixed in it, but I love this band. I just caught them live probably about a month ago at this point. It was incredible. If you have not heard this band, listen to Object Permanence. That's from their first album. That's the song that I was like, oh my God, this is insane. But off their new album, check out Funny Face. They're rad. They call them Canadian emo. They are from Canada. Cool dudes, super humble dudes, really just getting going on some of their bigger like solo tours or whatever. So support them, check them out if you haven't. Definitely recommend listening to their full album. I really think this dude is a brilliant songwriter, and as a band, they just absolutely rule. The next band we have to talk about, this is album of the year for me thus far, and this is a band that I discovered through Neck Deep. They are called Heart Attack Man, and they kick ass. This band is incredible to me. It's such a sick vibe of like 90s like alt plus like grunge, but very like pop punk catchy. But then lyrically it's kind of darker, or kind of has some irony or dark irony in there, like almost like a Matt Skiba lyricist or perspective of the world. Heart Attack Man is one of my favorite bands on the planet. They just released a new album, Joyride the Pale Horse. I know they just did a tour in Australia. I believe that was the first time. They just announced a UK stretch, and then they are hitting the road this summer in the US. Check out this album. If you have never heard of them, go back and listen to Fake Blood, Freak of Nature. I mean, some of their songs will absolutely capture you, or you'll know right away if it's your vibe or not. But this album just kicks ass. I've been listening to it front to back since it dropped, and I highly encourage you to check out this band and get out there and support like some of these smaller bands if they're in your area. You know, that's part of why I wanted to launch this style of an episode, is really just to highlight some of these bands that I've discovered that just absolutely rule. And I want to, you know, help spread the word in whatever small way that I can. And maybe you end up stumbling across an album or a song or a show that just provides a sick memory or escape for you in some capacity. So definitely check them out if you haven't, and definitely worth digging into some of their older discography for sure. One of the big topics that I keep seeing is the All-American Rejects are playing house parties. Everybody keeps sending me reels of these. It's like, okay, that's great. I do think it's pretty cool. So I don't know if this is in promotion of, I know they just released a new song. I believe that's for a new album that's going to be coming, which has not happened in forever for them. I've seen the All-American Rejects live a couple times. They put on a great live show, and I remember them back in the day, like Swing Swing. That was one of the first songs that I was learning on guitar at that time. I do think it's pretty rad that they're popping up and playing random house shows. I don't know if it's necessarily like the anti-high concert prices, which is absurd. I just saw something the other day where like kids are going in debt just to go see their favorite bands live, which sucks. So if it is in protest of that, or, you know, in juxtaposition to that, kudos to them. That's awesome. I did see that the Cops shut down a show. Not surprising. I think it depends where you're playing, but even if you pop up in a college town, if you don't have a permit or noise ordinance or something, they'll pop you on something, I'm sure. And me being old, hell, somebody shoots a firework off at 9:15 and I'm thinking, it's too late for that. But, you know, that's cool. I'm happy for them, and I've seen people like, it's almost like viral trying to find like where they're playing, which is pretty neat. So yeah, good for you, All-American Rejects. That's pretty cool. We got to talk about one of my favorite bands, Neck Deep. You already know I'm going to bring it up. They just released a brand new song, You Should See Me Now, which kicks ass. Absolutely rules. I was curious to hear, you know, what this was going to sound like coming off of what was the #1 album of the year for me, hands down, their self-titled release. Not only do they have a brand new song, they did a pretty cool thing at Slam Dunk. So a lot of people have been begging for a Life's Not Out to Get You 10-year anniversary tour. And they've kind of hinted at it, but they've also said that, you know, they don't necessarily want to live in the past just yet. They don't want to milk the fan base, which I appreciate. However, fans, of course, are going to want this. For a lot of folks, I mean, that's the Neck Deep album. And at Slam Dunk, there was signage and random like billboards and like posters that were announcing a run of 10-year anniversary shows this December in the UK. And people are just going crazy. I'm sure the tickets are going to sell out super quick. So that's pretty exciting. They also mentioned in an interview with Rock Sound that was on site that this new song will be part of a deluxe in some capacity. So I'm assuming this is the self-titled album getting some sort of deluxe treatment, which is great. I'm totally down to listen to that over and over and over with some additional content. I'm hoping we get some new songs. Maybe we'll get a couple live renditions of the original songs on the album. Can't wait to hear what's to come on that. They're going out on tour with The Story So Far later this year, and I cannot wait. I'm going to try and catch at least one of those shows, hopefully two. We got to see what the schedule looks like, but that will be a killer tour. Definitely check that one out if near you. I got to mention Alkaline Trio. So they, like almost every band I like, were playing at Slam Dunk the past few days, and during an interview alluded to new music, hopefully prior to this tour with Blink-182 coming up here in a couple months. So I think in a dream world, and I'm just praying to the pop punk gods, I would love to see an Alkaline Trio, Blink-182 split vinyl, like a new song on each side. Let's make it happen. Let's go old school. Let's do an old school split, one new single on each side, and then let's crush this Alkaline Trio Blink-182 tour that kicks off, I believe, at the very end of August. Going to a couple of those shows, and I cannot wait. That's exciting. That is really exciting to hopefully get some new music from Trio. It seems like this new era with Adam and the band is just really off to a great start, off a killer album, just out there playing shows. And I think, like most of you all, we'll be seeing them pretty soon with Blink, and can't wait. Last topic for today, Yellowcard released a brand new song, and they are announcing their brand new album, Better Days. I listened to the new single today. I enjoy it. The reason that may trigger some of your interest outside of if you listen to Ocean Avenue on repeat back in the day, or maybe you still do, but Travis Barker co-produced this and drummed on it. So I think you can hear that right away. As soon as I listened to the new single, I'm like, it's got to be Travis. It is. They're a band that I think has always kind of been on most of our radars for a long time. And the fact that they were in the studio working with Travis is pretty exciting. I just looked at the track list, and one thing I haven't even seen anybody note yet, but there's a song on there that is featuring Matt Skiba. So that's pretty exciting. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Don't have that release date handy, but it was already loaded into my iTunes, and I'm sure it's going to be coming sooner than later. A couple quick items. They aren't on the list, but just want to mention Green Day did release their deluxe album for Saviors. I listened through that, enjoyed it. And then one album to kind of put on your radar for sure is the new Magnolia Park album. They are a band that hit my radar at Sad Summerfest. I think they're doing pop punk the right way. This new album, my understanding, is more or less a conscious effort to do like a heavier, almost nu metal album, and it rips. It absolutely rips. It will not surprise me if it's my most listened to album last month. Check that one out if you haven't. The way that I want to end these episodes are with 3 song recommendations. These are songs that have been stuck in my head. I want you to check them out. If you have any submissions, drop them below. I'm always down to check out new music. Just bring the heat. Better be good. We're going to call these Poppin's Picks. Coming in at number 3, a band I mentioned earlier, Heart Attack Man. This is more or less like the B side of the album, but the song is called Quit While I'm Still Ahead. Banger. Check this one out for sure. Coming in at number 2, this is a song called 3 Days Sober by Waster. Love this band. This is a song that was on their album a couple years back, but it's an acoustic version that I think is just beautiful. The number 1 Poppin pick from episode 1 of Poppinland, You Should See Me Now by Neck Deep. Been on repeat since it dropped. Should not be a surprise. Totally check that out. Let me know what you have for us next month. All right. Thanks for checking out the new format. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace.